So this is about the fifth time that I've tried to record this video. And I'll tell you why. Because I thought I'd change it up today and I'd go to the other locations in the house and go and record a video in a different place. Makes it more interesting for you and especially interesting for me. Change it up, change my environment. So if you've watched my videos in the past, you've seen the beautiful white room that I have upstairs. Great place to do video blog. Taken, homeschooling by my daughter. Then there's another place which is surrounded by light, glass doors, lovely light in front of the ISIS picture. Great place to blog. Taken, husband's business. So as I walked around the house, I was just having struggling. I was having struggling moments in trying to find a place for me where I could be in my fullness doing this video. And I eventually squeezed myself between the coffee tables and propped everything up. And then I gave up when I saw in the video my husband was walking behind me, texting and talking on his phone. And then the dog decided to make an appearance. And I thought, you know what? Let me just go back to work, to my office till I know what works. So my attempt in trying to change my environment and expand is exactly what I'm talking about today. So I was blessed enough to be able to hold a group of with special beings on Saturday, working with Toth with my Egypt codes. And it was all about creating your environment so you can actually be in your fullness. And it's quite important work because without doing that, you can't really go anywhere. So I'm going to elaborate on this because I felt that I needed to share this in a blog because the work was so powerful on Saturday and very spiritually practical. And I know that a lot of us can get lost in the ethers where we go, okay, that was a great meditation, or, been flying with the angels for the past 4 hours on a workshop or whatever, or been reading this book and then you put it down and then you're like, well, how does that apply to my life? And we kind of get stuck bringing it through. So how we worked on Saturday was very much a checklist. And it's quite, Toth's energy was very commanding when he came through on Saturday. And he was very much like, do this, take care of this, get rid of that, go there. Do you know what I mean? It was very, very assertive. And it's kind of like the time is now, no messing around. And you have to check yourself, like seriously check yourself in your environment. And what the spiritual name for this is actually vibrational autonomy, which means nothing to any of us. But if I can explain, vibrational autonomy. I was laughing with a friend because it's a great line to drop at a dinner party and people are like, whoa, if that's your jam. But anyway, what it actually means is creating your environment so you can expand into your fullness. So for example, if you're doing endless amounts of work and clearing and healing and going deep and figuring this out and go, wow, I didn't know that about myself. Oh God, that childhood trauma, that past life experience, whatever, you start to expand, but you're working in the energy bodies, right? Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, where do I go from here? Because we can do this for years. We can just go and go and go and go. We can do that forever. But the thing is, when is the crossover? When you bring it into your physical, like you anchor it, what we call embody it. When do you embody it? When you embody it, you have to have space for it to show itself in the world. So for example, you could be sat there doing amazing work on your inner journey as to why you've picked a shitty job, why you're miserable, why you hate your marriage, or why you hate your life, or whatever it might be. You've done all this deep work and you've figured it out and you've got to the root of everything, and everything like that is all tickety-boo and smooth. But now you want to live that life. But you're not prepared to change your circumstances. So you haven't left the relationship. You haven't moved from that house. You haven't changed your job. You haven't changed your bosses. You've made no in your physical reality, made no changes for all of this beautiful inner work to land into. So it's never seen in the world. So, I mean, I speak from experience. I spent many, many years getting lost and caught up with workshop after workshop and studying and this and that, the other, which let me tell you, I had a mantra. I was like, if I'm learning, I'm moving. And I lived in Zimbabwe, which was very, very stagnant energy. You've got to be a special kind of person to live there. All my peeps in Zimbabwe, much love. But you have to be a very special person to live there. You have to, in every single moment, find the expansion in the constriction. And that's life. But if you want to really know how to do it practically, go and live in Zim. And it was hard because what I did to survive that throat hole and find the magic and the beauty of Zimbabwe in such a restricted environment, I found learning and studying to expanded my space to be able to survive in such a hard, intense country. And basically, I had many beautiful, happy years there as a result of that. So that worked. That shit worked for me, I did well. And you know what? Bottom line is like knowledge is power, as they say. I mean, I just grew, I learned, it was wonderful. But then I became very, very sad because I had nowhere for all of that knowledge and wisdom to birth into, because I couldn't do it in Zimbabwe. I felt like, my audience was very small. In alignment to what my mission and purpose was. It wasn't that I was supposed to work with just the suburb around me. I was supposed to work internationally. I'm supposed to be out there, and that's what I'm doing now because I changed my environment. But so what I'm saying is the beginning stages that worked for me to an extent, but then my particular mission and purpose, which may be which is completely different to yours and the next person. So I'm just speaking from experience here, just so you can understand. I had to move and change my environment for me to just expand into. So you might find that more on an internal level or more of an immediate level in your life. It might be like, it might be like just like I say, a job change, a house change, whatever, an attitude change, friends, changing your circuit. Maybe you're in circles where people aren't as spiritual as you and you feel yourself awakening. You got to change your environment so you can be you. You got to go and find your tribe. That's changing your environment. So with that comes a hell of a scary thing, because I, for many years, kind of just buzzed at home, and every time I came to the end of a course, I did another one and another one. And I kind of just conveniently trod water as to where I was in this immediate arena, And then I found myself actually going, no, there's more. And I had all this buildup of wisdom. And we've all got like ancient information to bring through, because we're all gods and goddesses walking on this earth, right? So we have crazy, mad, mental wisdom inside of us, like huge. If you don't think you have, well, you have, trust me. And that has got to be birthed into somewhere that works, So if you find you haven't got to that point yet, check your environment. If you find that you have got to that point and you're going nuts because you're like, I know so much, but I'm so scared. Because if I change my environment, that means it's becoming real. And that means if I change my environment for all of this to birth into, even if it's just a business idea, it doesn't have to be like on a spiritual context like mine was. Mine was about like really stepping into my mission and purpose, going to Egypt and traveling to these places. I mean, I always do things extreme. That's my jam. But the thing is, you might have a powerful business project that you're just like, God, I really want to do this. But you're scared, but you've got all of this power and magic and wisdom that you've brought through for this time for it to be launched and being seen out there. But you're too scared because you're in a job that you've been in for 10 years, can't see that changing. You're in a circle of friends which may not actually welcome the change in you or your ideas. Don't know how that's going to work. You got to change your environment, because your truth is your truth, and your truth is inside here, but it's inside here. And your environment has to match that. And yes, you have a choice. You can sit here and buzz with that till the cows come home. Happy days, you can. But it's going to be incredibly uncomfortable, and it's going to increasingly get more and more intense for you to be in that space. So yeah, you can do that, but it's gonna be a whole lot of suffering for no need. You gotta be in flow, man. Nobody's got time for spiritual constipation, because that shit hurts. So basically let it flow. And when you do, you'll find that the thought of it wasn't as traumatic as you thought. The only thing to fear in this life is fear itself. Meaning the actual thing that you think you're scared of, that shit's awesome. It's just fear. It's just an energy. You're fearful of the fear. That's it. It's a small unit. Fear is scared of fear, which has actually got stuff all to do with the bigger picture, which is the craziness, right? Because that's the illusion. So this time after the eclipse, I've spoken about it a lot. A lot of people have spoken about it even before we went into lockdown, that this is the time of the rebuild. We're there. We're not still fighting the good fight. If you are, you're probably invested in the illusion a little bit too much. This is about moving forward now, taking great strides. There are millions of spiritual freedom fighters out there, which I've met along the way through this whole experience. We've just met each other, and there are some amazing people out there, and they might still be saying to you, hey, don't believe the hype 5G or whatever the racial stuff that's going on, but they're still moving forward. They might be doing that, but they're also still very much involved in the rebuild. So anyway, I digress. Let's get back to the center of it all, which is all about being seen in the world now, the rebuild of you. And the rebuild of you is this new person that's emerged from lockdown with a completely different idea about everything. And, it's like now you're thinking, hey, I need to do this and I need to do that and I need to change, So now we really are in that rebuild phase. And that's why a lot of people are getting the stages of fear, because now things are becoming a little bit easy and flowy, and some of us are able to go out a bit. We're kind of on the other side of it. Yes, we are on the other side of it. Many will argue otherwise, but that's illusion. Where we are energetically and spiritually, we're there. So now get your seeds in the soil and start watering that shit and basically sing into those plants and grow your ideas, grow your essence. And in the soil, this is your essence. Put it out there so people can experience it. This is what you came here to do. You came to share your gifts with the world. Now, so there's the rebuild, but also as well, vibrational autonomy means that you do not throw yourself under the bus, no matter what, no matter where, no matter who, absolutely not. You have your back no matter what. Period. That's it, and that's all. There's no more being small around somebody who's egotistically big, or somebody who maybe not egotistically big, just really big in their power, and you kind of going, oh my God, I could never be that big, I'm scared. Step toe to toe, man. That is a reflection of you. If you come toe to toe with something or someone who's super duper powerful and you're like, oh, God, it intimidates you, the spirit is showing you the mirror. That's you. That is you. Amazing, right? So this is about when you're in a conversation, don't dim your light. Do not dim your light. If you have a gift or an ability that is bursting to come out, share it. Don't keep it in. No spiritual constipation. It hurts, as I say, toxic AF. So this is now about you really, really being in the fullness of you, not leaving yourself and going into separation consciousness, no matter what. And just basically being in your center, being in the fullness of you of who you are all the time. And I'll give you examples as well of just, I think I don't need to give examples. I just need to tag this along to boundaries, because that's what it is. It's boundaries. I've said it before and I say it now. Boundaries are there for many, many different reasons, and boundaries educate people on how you want to be treated. And boundaries aren't like, hey bro, don't overstep my line, and be barking at them like a dog at the fence. No, because then you trying too hard. A boundary comes from you being okay with you, which brings you back to that vibrational autonomy. If you are completely 150% invested in the wholeness of you, and you've got your back no matter what, and you don't let anybody fuck with you no matter what, and it's just you're okay and you're in your wholeness, and nothing really comes at you because you're airtight, then there will be a natural boundary there. That's an energy that people will sense and go, yo, okay, I know how to be around this person, and I know that I can't go beyond that because you're not letting them in. Meaning, not in a negative way, you've created your boundary fence, which is amazing and awesome. And that comes with the more and more and more you don't separate from yourself. That comes from more and more and more being in your vibrational autonomy. That comes from more and more and more being in your fullness. So you understand, it's actually not rocket science. It's really, really simple. So the best foot forward right now, and I'll break it down, is basically changing your environment. You are bringing through this newness, fullness, the essence of you into the world, because it's time now, okay? So whether you're going to do it now, whether you're going to resist a bit because it's fun, whatever, eventually you're going to end up doing it anyway. So this is about you being seen in the world and being in your maximum, your highest aspect, your maximum capacity of you. It's inevitable. It's happening anyway. So that is basically, that's a tick, right? So now, for you to expand in your fullness, because you are big and you're powerful, you have to create space for you to do that. So if you are in a relationship that has you like this, you ain't going to be able to do that. It's like, no-brainer. It's got to go. If you are in a job or a working environment that doesn't support your fullness, it's not in alignment, it's got to go. And you've got to move that shit out the way, move it out so you can bring in what you need to support your energy, your plan, your purpose. So, it really, really, really does come with a big call to action now, a CTA, call to action, where you now actually have to look at your life and go, well, you know what? It's not going to do me treading water, being my spiritual self at home. What are you going to do to be seen? It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go and do a whole bloody ashram and go and build a 3-4 story wellness center and have your name in lights. That might be. Okay, good. That's awesome. Go do that. But it's not for everybody. It might just be, well, it's not just, it might just. I know for a fact it's about being happy. So wherever joy comes from a place of being in your fullness, and from a place of having space to be in your fullness, and from a place where it comes from with an environment that supports that. So it's a bit like if you are single, living in a 1-bedroom flat, totally fine. Yeah. Then you go and meet the missus or the mister. And now all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, maybe a 2-bedroom flat. Then you go and get boxed up deluxe and you bang out 5 kids and you've now got this awesome family and it's amazing and it's just fabulous. You ain't going to stay in that 2-bedroom flat. What are you going to do? You're going to change your environment to accommodate your beautiful, forever bursting with joy family. Right? I think that's the best way I can explain this to you. Boom. Let me land that in your lap there. That's very, very easy to understand. So why is it that you do that when you expand on a family, okay? But you won't do that when it comes to your energy of the truth of who you are. I mean, like the family and the kids and the environment and everything, that's important. Like that's important. But this is even more important than that. So why do we throw this under the bus? There's that vibrational autonomy again. You do not throw yourself under the bus. Period. Get this right. Foundation, family, kids, amazing job, abundance, all the rest of it. What's not to love, basically. But that's how it goes. So it's a very practical step. Check yourself. Know that it's time for you to step into the world now for the rebuild. Check your environment. Your first thing you have to do is change your shit in your life. And that is going to take courage, not fear, courage. And you're going to walk through that like a boss. And then once you've got the space to expand into yourself, then everything's going to flow through to you. Infinite possibilities and a very, very joyful life. And that's it and that's all. That's the formula. And, all those hours in therapy, all those books you read, all those workshops you did, you just heard it here right now how simple it is. So away we go, really. So anyway, I will post again, but I wish you well on constructing the new life. Well, it isn't actually new. We're going right back to the beginning, but it's new. It's new as we remember it. But yeah, love, peace, eh? Thank you for listening.